Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, I'm sorry. We have to talk about inflation again.
It has to be the topic. I mean, this was a week where a lot of new inflation news came out, and it's not all entirely bad for produce. I mean, the big things in there is that there overall the economy there was no increase from the past 2 months, of which surprisingly the administration said there's no inflation. It's still 8.5% over a year ago. It was no increase over the last month. Food is still way up, but within that subset, produce is not up as much as a lot of different foods. And so, I mean, that could be, I mean, you're looking for little bits of positives in some of this bad economic news.
We
Maybe
had
that's
a lot of data come in this week, and it was a lot to chew on. And one of the ones that really stuck out was that what was it, 68% of consumers believe that we are in a recession right now. Um, it, it, that's not great news that people already believe that we're in a recession. And the one that stuck out to me was 48% of Americans are worried about food shortages. And, we have a lot of food, but I feel like maybe we're still traumatized by seeing empty shelves in the
I
last
think
few
there's
years.
some PTSD from the pandemic.
Right.
Food shortages are a weird thing because I really, as produce industry people, there's no shortage of produce. There are some shortages at certain times a year. Like we're going to have another story coming up about potatoes, and they're going to be in short supply until the new crop comes out. And that's bad for potatoes and it's bad for consumers, but there's other stuff there.
Right.
I mean, you can go in and see a shortage of Honeycrisp apples and buy Galas or Fuji's.
Right. We've got options. The shortages I think people are more concerned about are not directly related to produce. It's grain-based stuff like bread and I may have casually hoarded a little bit of bread flour, but just like the fancy flour that I like because I'm worried about my brand not being available.
That's certainly we have
Um,
seen. We have definitely seen that in the past year. I mean, there's a story about how Hershey's chocolate might be short for Halloween. They're already talking about stuff like that. It doesn't mean there'll be no chocolate. It's
right.
short at Hershey's, and it might be
Yeah.
time for people to switch to the Cadbury, the European style, which I prefer anyway.
I mean, yeah, for me, like the hierarchy of Halloween candy is little boxes of nerds are way up here. And
Everyone
candied
has their
apples,
own priorities.
we all have our own priorities. And as much as I love produce, I don't really want to get any fresh produce trick or treat snacks. Please just do that in your own fall festival. You don't have to,
Yeah.
pass those out when you're doing trick or treating. So people are concerned about shortages. I mean, a lot of stuff that we've had lately kind of like, reinforces that the formula shortage is something that I'm sure people who were needing that are traumatized by. But some of the bright spots were overall food inflation hovering around 15%. Not great. I feel like it's higher depending on what you're buying. But fresh produce was only around 9.3%. Okay, I believe that's numerators numbers. We got so many numbers this week, and
Yeah.
most of them agreed.
Well,
Uh,
one bit of numbers that I thought was interesting is the one we had from in market, and it said it had a chart that was really good. Talked about what people are spending, and 55% said they're spending significantly more on everyday needs: groceries, gas, health, and beauty. And that was the highest by far of any other category. But people are not buying those categories, so they're spending more in these categories of everyday needs, and they're cutting out other things. And I don't, they're not cutting food out. I mean,
right.
as we saw, they're shopping more at dollar store type places. They're looking for cheaper options like private label, store brands, discounts. That's an area for produce and retail to really work and appeal on price. A perfect solution is seasonality.
Right. And one of the categories that is way, way up, one of the leaders in one of those surveys was snacks. And part of that is supply chain issues, like what we've seen in the chip factories and stuff like that. And we talked a little bit about this could be a possibility for fresh produce. We have a lot of snack options in produce, but I don't feel like they are fully their potential is fully realized at retail. A lot of the times the retailer in my neighborhood doesn't really have a lot of produce snacks. They've tried a few things, but I haven't really seen like a snack station or anything that's reinforcing back to school. And I really think retailers need to think about this and think about it hard, because especially with what's going on with school lunch program, because last year the school lunch program was free for everyone. And people like me took advantage of that, even though I don't qualify for any of that. And I've got two kids going into school and I don't know what to feed them, because now that I got to pay for the school lunch, I'm like, well, shoot, I might as well make my own if I'm going to be paying, $6 or $7 a day for school lunches. I might as well reallocate my own budget for that. And so we've seen Nature Fresh Farms came out with something. Set and Pistachios sent me some back to school recipes. And even Yo Quiero sent me some dip this week, reminding me that produce is for snacking.
That's not really snack size, but that does look pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. This is the spinach artichoke dip. But put that on your list for trade show stops for snacks. It's definitely one of them. But it's an opportunity in retail to remind people that a lot of the times produce snacks, when you look at it compared to a bag of what I don't even know what it costs, $1 for a bag of those single serve Cheetos or something like that, the spicy flaming hot Cheetos that all the kids like. Not every middle school parent's going to appreciate if I replace the flaming hot Cheetos with carrots, and he's probably listening to me right now going, Mom, no, please, no. But I would certainly feel pretty good about that if it costs the same amount of money.
Well, it doesn't have to replace either. It can be half a plate or lunch
Right.
bag or lunch box.
Yeah, it could replace half of it, a compromise, if you will. But a lot of parents will be shopping for back to school snacks in the next couple of weeks if they haven't already. And a lot of us are dreading it, not looking forward to it. I would like some easy solutions.
But you are at least looking forward to school starting again.
Yes, any work from home parent is counting down the minutes, not even just the days, the minutes until I got these kids back in school, because it is not easy. And the thing is, they eat all day long, so maybe I won't be spending more money by buying them school food versus having them graze my fridge all day long.
Well, when you're growing, you gotta feed the beast.
Growing boys. All right. Well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Weekend Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. And Chewy snacks too, don't you? Chewy.
Oh, yeah.
You got a dog behind you?
No.
Oh. Yeah. Hey.
No, young person in our new TV room.
Yeah. He's like, what? You're saying my name?